Okay.
Okay. I will see you in an hourish.
Okay.
Ah. Often people think that during the blending process that spirit have to arrive, that they walk in through one door and sit next to the medium. But in essence, that has already occurred. Your guides have already blended with you now. They sit by your side. Too often people think that it's a case of finding a guide. But it is rather allowing the guide. Spirits sit on your shoulder all the time. There is nothing to find, only to reveal. And you can say this because, well, from the frame of mind of mediumship, but this is true with all of your life. In the talks of all the qualities and the mysterial or mystique of the disciples, all of those qualities exist within you already. It is you that limit you. It is your viewpoint that becomes so defined that you only see things in one dimension. Yet by broadening your viewpoint and opening your viewpoint to other possibilities, then of course your view can broaden and you can see things from a far greater angle. So the process of enlightenment, of realization, of discovery of your true self also means your viewpoint broadens. You do not lose the ability to see the local, but you reveal the ability to see the universal. And this is the same with knowledge. As you are able to understand greater mathematical problems, you do not lose the ability to see 1 + 1 = 2. The revealing of your spirit nature means that your definition, your viewpoint becomes potentially so broad that eventually you see all things from all angles. This, of course, is the merger with the One, to become the One. Now, let us begin. We should begin first, and will begin with our healing list of people. And these will be brought to the attention of each of you. So can you let your hearts be open? And as the names are read, Let the love in your heart hold them gently. So may I have the healing names, please?
Nice to speak with you again, my friend. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you perfectly well.
Okay. Well, there are many names, so we'll speak quickly, and I apologize for any mispronunciations. Evie Rose Johnston, Olivia Johnston, Howard Wielden, Melita Hernandez, Louise Ortiz, Lorna, Helen Ferrier, Kat Rain, Lena, Sonia, Mats, Pia, Jeanette, Pekka, Jana, Bjorn, Bjorn and Jay might be the same person, Emma, Anders, Mia, Timo, Marie, Teresa, Wivka, Kaylin Vilnius, Jared Zook, Brad Zawislik, Eric and Patrick Stemmer, Baby Eddie, a little newborn, premature, struggling with the physical body, animal pet names Emily, Pia, and Bruno. Back to humans, Donna and Leroy Henke, Tim, Rosa, Coulter, Asha, Kelsey, Mark, Sandra, Julie, Mark, Angie, Jason and Ben, Liz and Joe, Emily, Paul, Finney, Bella, Nico, Harper, Kelly, the DeJersey family, the Grant family, the Robinson family, Sri Malyani, Teresa Neal, Marion Haley, Angelina, Alexandra, Irene, George, Stella, Daniel, Lorraine, Lorianne, and Loretta and Michelle. Thank you.
Hmm. Now, to begin with, before we get to the questions, I'm being impressed here that there is one that would like to come through to pass a message on to somebody specifically. So let me make this allowance and I will return in a little while. My, it's so interesting. It is interesting to join the group, and it is interesting to have the conversation. Now, is there a lady called Malada? Now, Malada, I think you are listening. Are you there?
Yes.
My name is William, my dear. I am not connected to you, but rather I am connected to the medium. And you have a list on your, I believe it is on your lap, isn't it? A pen and paper. And you also have on there a list of not just questions that you can get to answer now, but you also have a question for the medium that you want to ask in another conversation. And that question is, you would like to know his address. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, I do not want to let my medium lead you astray. Now, he told you that it was 1965. Do you remember this?
Yes.
But he made a mistake, and he is still of the belief it is 1965. But perhaps you can search on your internet, and you will find that the date of death was actually the 22nd of August, 1963.
Oh, okay.
Do you understand this?
Yes.
And if you look on the internet, I believe there are certain sites which will tell you this detail. And you will be able to confirm that date as being accurate.
Yes. I can look.
Anyway, my dear, it was only a brief message, and it was only a message to put things right.
I understand.
Anyway, my time is done. God bless you, my dear.
Thank you so much.
I believe, Malada, you understand that communication and will act accordingly.
Yes, of course.
Now, I believe that we have some questions that people would like to ask. And of course, these may be on any topic you wish, but there is a preference that they should be of interest to others. And any that are in attendance now, let us ask those questions first, and then we can come to the ones which have been given to you from those who have sent messages. So do you have a question for me?
Yes, I believe the question should be of a general public nature. Why don't we just go with Malada since she's already speaking?
Hi, Ignatius. My question, I think, could help a lot of people. And the question is, how does one support when those around you spend a lot of time criticizing one another or others? And when you are remaining in the peace of things, it feels like you're in the crossfire all of the time trying to love everyone. Do you have advice?
If you would not mind, I will change the question very slightly, and that is, how do you help people when they are going through their difficulties, yet you can see the truth and you feel the connection?
Yes.
Now, Now, my dear, let us say two people are in a room. Now, person one will find it very difficult to influence person two. So person one cannot make them change. It is freedom of choice. So person one could not make you happy, but will do things and you respond happily. So let me change the tense. I could not make you happy, but I can do things which you can respond to from happiness. It is also the same with control. I cannot control you, but you can choose to be controlled by me. Your circumstances can be changed, but your attitude is perfectly up to you. So the events of life come to you, but the way you handle them and the way you see them is purely in your domain. And at times you either handle those, let us say, with happiness or with anger or with compassion or any other emotion. So if you are sitting in a room and one person is rather animated or angry, let us say, and yet you are sitting in the bliss and you think to yourself, you do not know. You do not know the truth. You see this anger from the viewpoint of your ego. You do not see this situation through the viewpoint of your spirit. And then for you it becomes frustrating that that person could live their life so differently. They could live their life full of love and joy. They could have compassion in their heart. Yet their viewpoint, from your opinion, is wrong. And you do not know what to do about it. You do not know whether you should correct them or whether you should not correct them. And you judge yourself and you say, well, I could do this or could have done that, or how unwise am I even to see this confusion or criticism or anger. The only thing you have control over, my dear, is your own reactions to the events. Your own reactions to the way each person responds in their life. Your role is to hold spirit. You guide others by being the light and letting it shine. And as I have said before, you do not need to take the light to the darkness. You just be the light. And let that shine. The reactions that you feel to people's, let's just call it difficulty, challenges, ego, means two things. First of all, there is compassion in your heart. And second, that there is a spirit working. Yours is revealed, theirs is hidden. Offer no more than the light. Offer no change. Shine your light. Let that situation be. Shine your light. There are many phrases which cover this, but one from the commercial world is for the manager to say, my door is always open. You see, the other has to walk in and make the choice for change. Until they are ready, you are wasting your time. So the first step is always they have to turn their head towards the light. Now, you cannot do this for them other than by being the light. And I have given this analogy before also, but if you are confronted with anger, stay in your peace. And eventually the anger has to subside. So when you are confronted by challenging situations, stay in your peace. Be peaceful. This is all that you can do. And one day, that person will recognize your light and say to you, why are you so content? What have you got that I have not? And you will say, I have nothing that you have not. But you are content and I am not. I have let go and you are holding on. The physical world is the world of the play of, well, physicality, the ego, if you wish. You can either be in that world or in that world and not of it. You either live in the physicality or you live in the spiritual. You do not know much about these people, even though you would say some of them are your relatives, and you may say that you do know lots about them. But frankly, you will only ever know a small percentage. So look at these people and have compassion in your heart and hold that light. You do not resolve anger by adding more anger. You resolve anger by adding more peace. Be at peace. Hold your peace. Let me give you a rather long answer as well, but this will answer other questions. Imagine you are standing in front of a cinema. And let us say this cinema has 100 screens. And each screen represents one genre. So you could see a movie that is action, a movie that is horror, a movie that is love, a movie of science fiction, etc. So you make your decision. You say, I will see an action movie today. And you pay your money and walk into the cinema. And what you didn't know is you could pick. You could say, I will see the same action movie, but I will see it from the viewpoint of the hero. Or I'll see it from the viewpoint of the villain. Or the victim. Or I will see it from those which are observing but did nothing. I will see it from the mother or the father of the victim or the hero. So within each screen, there are multiple choices to be made. But you make your choice and you enter the theater and you sit. And you watch the movie. And as the movie's finishing, you say to your partner, I enjoyed that. I'm glad I was here. And you walk out of that movie. And within a matter of a few minutes, you do not talk about it anymore. It may come up in a conversation with friends, let us say, a few days later, but in essence, you do not talk about it. The physical life is the movie that is on the screen. When you watch it, you react with, let us say, all the jumps and all the tears and all the passion to get something resolved, the relation or the relationship to the people's there. You feel like while you are watching that movie that you are in the movie. You are experiencing all the parts. You feel the fear, you feel the love, you feel the joy. But within a matter of minutes, it is forgotten in its entirety, but it is still there within your being, what you learn. The physical life is like the movie, the film. The soul is like the person viewing the movie. Feel like they're fully in it, but then can step away from it. The spirit is watching all movies and is projecting the movie onto the screen. The creator does not need the movie. It is stillness. It may watch in the movie, the viewer, the viewing, the nothing, the everything is the creator. So when you see your friends or relatives going through difficult times, know that they are in the movie. Become a good viewer. Offer the light. That's all that you can do. And one day, if you have offered your life light sufficiently, they will come to know themselves as the light as well. They cannot if you offer more darkness. And you cannot help them until they knock on your door and ask. You can only be your own light. But eventually, the candle of one will light the candle of two. And that flame then will have grown Even though it is the same flame, it is burning in 2 candles, and then 3 and 4 and 5, etc. Now you know this, Malada, to be true because it is your light which has influenced your mother's light. And it is your light that has influenced your children's light. It is your light that will influence your children's children's children. The relay of the Olympic torch is passing on the light to other generations. If you come out of your light, then your children may suffer. Now that is an interesting concept, isn't it? But if my analogy is true, then it is true. That if you stop shining your light and become, let us say, anger, whatever emotion is being expressed, then your children will learn that. Now that has altered your viewpoint. There is a story that you plant a tree, not for your shade, but for the shade of others yet to come. And this is what is meant. The light works with a cobweb effect. Going through channels and highways and byways, and soon the source is forgotten. You are all sitting in the theater watching a movie that you feel like that you are in, but that one day you will leave the theater, say, you enjoyed that. I like the way this happened. Only to return to the theater another day for another genre. Until you realize that not only are you the observer of the movie, but you are the observer of all movies. You are the light which projects the movie onto the screen. In the Bible it says, "Let there be light." So does this not tell you that there must have first been darkness? Does this not tell you that God, if you wish, the Creator, the Absolute, the All-Knowing, is in fact darkness? You see, light is an emanation from the Creator. If you would like to go deeper, then Sat Chit Ananda, truth, consciousness, bliss, is an emanation from the Creator. It is not the Creator. So those of you who think spirit in all its knowing, all its viewpoint is the end. But what you term as spirit is an expression of the Creator. What you term as consciousness is an expression from the Creator. That topic will come up again in later weeks. So your short answer is you do nothing. You just be the guiding light.
Thank you, Ignatius. Thank you.
And there is another question.
Very well spoken. Thank you, Ignatius, for that. Why don't we go over to Jane? Jane, you're up.
Hi, Ignatius. Ignatius, given that we are ascending and the intention is to come back to the nothing, as you've just described, devoid of emotions and personality, and sort of dissipate back into the ether or into the one. Then we have the concept of ascended masters who have names and are here to help and guide us. So I want some clarity around what seems to be the differing degrees of ascension.
All aspects of the body fold into themselves. So, each body retires into the next highest body. So you reveal the next highest vibration, if you would like it in that language. So if you are level 1, to become a level 2, level 1 is within 2. Level 3 has 2 and 1 within that. Just like the mathematics example I gave at the beginning. So as the levels increase or the vibration increases, then more greater concepts are revealed. The mind can only handle what it can handle. So if some of your mathematics ability is the addition tables, then there is no point talking about subtraction and division. Now there is a concept here. For those of you who wish to begin teaching and helping others, and this does answer your question, Jane, although you may feel like it takes you off track. But for those of you that wish to help others, the first rule is to always meet the client where they are. So, for example, there is no point in talking about enlightenment or meditation to a mother who has just lost her baby. You deal with the grief first and talk about enlightenment when that time is ready. So you meet the client where they are. There is no point in talking about complexity if the client is still at simplicity. So as the client, if you wish, or as the person evolves within their spiritual process, the ability to handle greater concepts becomes, well, more attainable. And as this concept then becomes bigger and bigger, of course, then they can hold bigger and greater, let's say, complexity topics, whatever it is. Now you can see this within what has been described as the spirit or astral realm evolution between level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. Now, at some stage, you take a step into what would be termed spirit. And spirit here, now, you have a greater viewpoint, as I have just said. You can view all the movie screens. And within your heart, then, there is an endless love. Now, this is the love, not the love of the human realm, not the love of I love you, or the love of I like potatoes, or let me change it for Terry, I like oranges. This is the love which is far deeper than that. This is the love that is like the river, not a cup of water. The love is so great at this stage that you lose yourself within the bliss of it. And if you've heard the talks I've given before, this is where Jesus meditated. Now, when you do this, you have a desire to serve and to help others. But not serve from the point of view that I am your slave, but to serve them by, well, let's use the previous example, by being a lighthouse. And you offer yourself and you say, I am here. Your stage of evolution then is to such an extent that you may choose to work within many different factors of life. In essence, you are one shining light and two giving love. Now, you may call them a certain personality, and you may say that personality is very high, and they have a name, a certain name. In essence, of course, it's an expression of energy, isn't it? An expression of vibration. Now, there is a lady who will listen onto the recording of this, and I think she will listen more than once. Angelina, my dear, I refer to you. Now, in previous conversations, and apologies, Jane, this is still on your question. In previous conversations with her, she would understand that I have referred to these masters, the men with the hoods on. She sees no faces, but she is aware of the present. And if she was here, she would say that she has seen originally 9, and then 7, and now I believe it to be 3. Now, within the course of your spiritual evolution, you will come to the number 3. It is often said that there are 3 guna, 3 energies, that there are 3, a triad, that there is Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, Vishnu, Shiva, Brahman, God the Father, the Holy Ghost. And then you lose yourself in the 3. You begin to recognize that the 3 are in fact one. You start to see the 3 merging into one. So remember, all of this is already taken place within you. All of this has already happened. You are revealing that process into the world. If you wish to say there are ascended masters and they are here for your ascension, well, that is true. They are here to reveal the ascension that you are. They are here to reveal the qualities that you possess, the knowledge that you already attain, the ability to serve that you have dwelling within you. The pull back to become one is the act of love. It is the uniting of all to become the one. And all you have to do is to pull back the sheets and to reveal the light. To shine that light, to, if you want to call that light any particular name, or a quality of that light is a name. The quality of compassion, the quality of love, the quality of happiness, all becomes one. So in essence, the Ascended Masters are a reflection of you to show you your way. To say to you, you too are an Ascended Master. You don't know it yet, but you are. Now, they have said that there are three paths, and I have spoken about this before, but three paths. One path of knowledge, one part of action, one part of devotion. And eventually those three paths become one, the path of devotion. If you wish, you could say that there are seven paths, and those seven paths are the Ascended Masters. And then you could say, in fact, there are more paths, and each is governed by an angel. Your terminology can be as you wish it to be. So the Ascended Masters are none other than yourself. They are pointing your way. They are showing your direction. They are saying to you, go left. Be compassionate. Be love. And if you are an angel person, they will say, I am Saint Germain. I give you the threefold flame. For those which are following the path of realization and enlightenment, all of this is revealing what is already there. It is the opening, not the closing. And when I say opening, I do not mean by a millimeter. And this is why I've always said that the veil between the two worlds does not exist. You bring the veil to the equation. And when you drop it, when you put your nose through a hole in that cloth, you see the world on the other side. Sometimes just a feeling, sometimes just a hazy blur. But for some time, there is a knowing. And you may choose then to step across that veil into the other side and live in both worlds. And here you can see the advice given to Malada. You can be in both worlds. And you do that by coming to your spiritual self. Let spirit do the work. So Jane, you are not just one, but all ascended masters. You are not just Buddha, but you are Allah. You are not on the path of knowing, but the path of devotion. You do not have to find your God. You have to reveal your God. Let your hearts be open, and I say this to all, let your hearts be open and let your love shine. Give freely, do not hold it back, and your vibration will change in an instant. This is why it is often said that you must journey from head to heart. In essence, this is journeying from the path of knowledge to the path of devotion. And then you bring that love to that knowledge. Knowledge without love is dry, inconsequential. But knowledge with love will break down the hardest barrier. And that is why you sit and listen and you know you are being told the truth, or you know you are being told an untruth. Because within your heart it registers. Within your heart it says, I am here. Perhaps we should take a small question. I trust I have answered your question, Jane, and maybe a little bit more.
It's magnificent.
My dear, so are you. When you see you in your purity, then you bring tears to my eyes.
Thank you for that, Ignatius. I don't know if the next one is a small question, but Michelle, if you want to hop on and ask your question real quick.
Yeah, I hope this isn't going to let a fish out of water, but with the rise of Kundalini at its near final stages, does this go in tandem with the visualization of the blue pearl, or are they go kind of together, or is there a separation?
When you raise your Kundalini energy, my dear, you are in essence raising the energy that is laying latent or dormant within you. And the raising of that energy goes through your system. It tries to raise many times, but hits many blockages. In essence, there are 3 blockages, but 3 by many, many different degrees. And the final one is represented by the throat, sometimes the third eye. is the blockage of ego. At some stage, you should separate from that ego into the purity of spirit, or at least the spirit realm. So you step beyond, let us call, the physical dimension, the dimension that is holding you still, into what would be, let us call it, the spiritual dimension. And again, each one or each step you take on the raising of this Kundalini is rather like the awakening of yourself. To guide you on your path and to lead you forward, the blue light starts as a mist and then builds into something more defined. It leads you through each of these blockages, sometimes called granthis. And as you take a step through each, you then move forward, but the light defines and forms still greater. Now, for some who are connecting to spirit, it may not be a defined light, as in a ball, but may be a light as in a mist. So both happen at the same time. The light guides you forward, the energy starts to rise and fall, until one day, it breaks through the barrier, which is not in your choice, my dear. You do not define and say, well, let us do it on the 15th of March. It'll make its own mind up. And when that light breaks through that final barrier, the Kundalini energy breaks through that final barrier, then there is, for a brief time, sometimes minutes, sometimes hours, sometimes days, sometimes years, there is the realization you have connected to source, if you wish, and the vibration through you can still be a very small percentage, but will light your body, your mind like it's never been lit before. Now, if you remember, I say that the blockage is represented by either the throat or the third eye. If you choose to try to recreate, to make something happen, then you will create just another blockage. If you try to make anything happen, you will create a set of circumstances that you want. You are not opening. So those which have spiritual experiences should not hold on to them and try to make them happen again, or try a certain thing to manifest or to develop, but rather should surrender. And in surrendering, then, there is more ability for that experience to go from temporary to permanent. It is often said within awakening that people have a brief awakening and may wait 10, 11 years for a full awakening. So you may have an experience when you are, let's say, 20, and the full experience may not happen till you're 40, or, again, hypothetical numbers. Or you may have it 1 month and the full thing the next month. I've told the story of the swordsman before, where a man comes to a master and says, I would like to learn to use the sword. How long will it take me? And he says, 10 years. He said, what if I practice every weekend? Then it will take you 20 years. What if I practice every weekend, every night, every waking hour? How long will it take me then to become a sword master? It will take you 30 years. And he said, why? If I come, it's 10, and then if I work harder, it is 20, and then 30. It is not about desire, my friend. It is the same with your awakening. It is not about desire. It is about letting go of desire. Remember, it is not about attainment. It's about letting go of the need for attainment. Keep sitting. Keep revealing. Keep letting go. And everything then is waiting for you. Brandon, do you have time for one more or not?
I don't think we do, my friend.
Perhaps you can retain those questions which have been sent via message to you for next week. And those of you which would like to ask another question, please bring that next week. And again, my apologies, but we must give preference to those which are here. Please bring names for healing. Please bring questions you would like. I wish no more than to shine my light, so you may light your candle from mine. Let love be in your heart. God bless you.
From all of us, thank you, Ignatius.
That was brilliant, Mark.